So apparently the T-app situation is getting worse. And for those who don't know, the T-app lets women anonymously post about the guys they've dated, and that comes with a lot of baggage in of itself. It was great for avoiding bad dates, defamation, character assassination, gossip, but mainly, for avoiding bad dates. Oh, and if you hated privacy, by the way, it was great for that too, because they apparently stored all your IDs, which if you're wondering why they need your IDs in the first place, it's a girls-only club. So they threw all that in what's essentially called a public bucket, which is exactly what you think it is. A cardboard box that says, "Do not steal," and when you throw that into a fucking crack house, you can imagine what happens next.
This app creator just destroyed his life by creating an app that promised to protect women from dating horrible men, but it ended up allowing their private information to be leaked all over the internet, including sites like 4chan, and he's now been hit with 6 federal lawsuits.
An app designed to let women safely discuss men they date has been hacked. The app T said today about 72,000 images have been leaked online, including pictures, photo IDs of users that were submitted during account verification process.
But before we go any further into the story, we need to understand what this app does and why it was created.
I mean, it's not hard to figure out, right? You make an app where the entire premise is we rate men based on anonymous gossip, and congratulations, you win a prize. You've just opened the door to the most bitter, most petty, most vindictive people on the planet. And yeah, you'll have a couple of genuine cases where somebody's warning a friend about a guy who's genuinely dangerous, whatever that means. But that's not most of the content. Most of the content is gonna be, oh, he did buy me my Starbucks drink, he took me to McDonald's, he didn't drop me off at my place. Basically, nothing burgers. And you know the double standard here, right? If guys made an app like this for women, it'd be called misogyny, harassment, and a danger to women everywhere. But flip the genders a little bit and suddenly it becomes empowerment, safety. How this is anything beyond like hypocrisy is beyond me, right? You've got jobs, relationships, and reputations on the line when you have this type of mob behavior, mob mentality. What happens when Sally from HR sees these women dogpiling on a guy and she's got no critical thinking? Bye-bye, Mr. Peter. You're gone. If you didn't do anything wrong, you don't have anything to worry about? Like, that's such a stupid question. First of all, unverified accusations, vague creep stories, and like pet peeves and shit like that. That's totally preferential and opinionated. Like that the accused would never be able to clear. Because guess what? It's a girls-only app. People love gossip. Women love gossip. I mean, some men love gossip too, right? We have an entire niche on YouTube based on celebrity drama. And like internet drama, Twitch drama, and whatever. You know what else people love to do? Lie. People love to lie. And that's exactly where the absurdity comes in. How do you verify any of this? Do you like cross-examine screenshots? Or do they come fresh out of your Photoshop folder? Do you have a fact checker for bad dates? Do you have a fact checker for bad dates? Sounds fucking expensive to me. If 4 million or something, however many that number is, 4 million women were posting, right? That's a lot of money to be fact checking. If you want to run an app like this, cool. Be my guest. But the rules have to be equal. If women can publicly rate men, then men should be able to publicly rate women. But we all know what would happen if that came true, right? Imagine accusing someone of SA in front of 4 million women. And that's basically case closed, right? Oh wait, that actually happened already. Johnny Depp, right? It's so stupid.
So you have this app called T, and it's described as the Yelp for dating. This site allowed women to, I guess, avoid terrifying online dating experiences by posting photos of men and seeing if anyone else had the same bad experience with the same man.
T had marketed itself as sort of like Yelp, but for dating. So instead of reviewing a service, you were reviewing an actual guy that you'd gone out with.
So instead of reviewing a service, you're reviewing a guy you went out on maybe one date with? Yeah, that's a great system. Totally, no way this could go wrong, right? Because here's the problem. There's absolutely no verification for any of this. None. You can be the most normal, polite dude on the planet, buy dinner, say thanks for coming out, you're beautiful, blah, 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 and now you're considered a dangerous man because you said, I don't want to go on a second date with you. I don't think it's going to work out. And let's be honest here, based on the leaks, most of these reviews were coming from people who, let's just say visually are somewhere between Jabba the Hutt and the final boss of a Golden Corral buffet, right? And what happens when people like that get rejected 10 times straight? Well, let me tell you, I mean, for most people as well, right? Most people can handle rejection. And when you give them an outlet to go crazy, trust me, if you give a crackhead crack, well, he won't betray your expectations, let me tell you that. Remember the Me Too movement as well, where women were just handing out death sentences? I'm sure many were true, don't get me wrong. 100% many were true, and I'm sure, equally sure, many were also false. And I'm sure many innocent lives were also ruined. That's what mob mentality does to you. It's rough. And in the dating space, women have a disproportionate amount of power compared to men. And that's fact. That's just reality. If a man were to accuse a woman of SA, most of the time, he would just be brushed off. If a woman were to do the same, oh, he'd be in jail the next day.
Concern here was that you had a lot of guys who often frequent a ton of dating apps at once, and they're committing kind of the same offenses, sometimes being creepy, but sometimes being dangerous or violent with women. And word doesn't get out to enough women at the time because these guys are on so many different websites, right? So the idea that the T was saying was like, don't worry, this will be a central place, not a dating app.
So they're committing the same kind of offenses. I mean, and being a creep, what does that even mean? Being a creep? Are you being a creep when you ask to take her back to her place and drop her off? Are you being a creep when you ask for a second date? Are you being a creep when you ask to buy her flowers on the first date or something like that? Creep is very subjective, and it depends on, let's say if an ugly guy were to do whatever I said, he would be considered a creep. But if a 10 out of 10 guy were to do the exact same thing, oh, he would be considered Prince Charming. And by the way, sometimes being dangerous or violent with women. How many men do you think are being violent or dangerous with women to merit an app like this? And how many women do you think are falsely accusing guys of SA to extort money out of them? I would say the percentage is, well, more in favor of the guys, but it's still up there, right? It's not a dating app. It's like calling Taco Bell not Mexican food. You can call it whatever you want, but we all know what's in the bag. Yeah, it's not matching men and women directly. It's just, filtering the guys so that the women can date them. It's not really a dating app. It's just a second remove dating app. But the women, they're basically dating each other as well. They're in a relationship with each other, right? Think about it. You trust these women so much that you would be willing to give their opinion, which you don't know if it's a lie or if it's a truth or if it's an exaggeration, their opinion any significant weight at all, right? What if you post a picture of this guy you want to date? Let's say on the T app, right? And you want to filter him out. Maybe he's a fucking maniac or a psychopath or something. And then some girl just sees this picture and says, you know what? I want this guy. I want this guy for myself. I'm gonna spin the most disgusting lie about this guy so that this girl doesn't go on a date with this guy and I have a chance. What happens then? Having an app like this just opens up so many bad actors. And by the way, after the leak, do you really think these people could really land any guy they wanted? What is this, like the imaginary fan they had when they were in grade school because no one would talk to them? Is this part 2? They're like swapping horror stories, validating each other's fucking victim complexes because, society is so unfair to them. They're just one-upping each other based on exaggerated stories because they want to feel they're part of the fucking group, right? It's like high school gossip. And once you understand that dynamic, right, it doesn't matter if the stories are exaggerated or flat out made up, the connection becomes more important than the content of whatever they're saying. And by framing it as safety, they get this moral cover for what's basically organized defamation. It's so smart actually, but it's sick and manipulative at the same time. And again, the double standard. If guys had an app like this, it would be all out war.
This is more of like a research app.
Gee, I wonder what could go wrong. But it's said to be influenced by Facebook pages like Are We Dating the Same Guy? A good example of this would be a 27-year-old woman who became skeptical of her partner. She was recommended the Facebook page by close friends, only to find out he'd been posted about in a negative light by like 10 different women. Let's
go back and check this out, right? Found the guy I was seeing on my local Are We Dating the Same Guy Facebook group. Just like the title says, I, 27 female, was seeing this guy 30. For 3 months. I really liked him but ended things because I felt like his communication skills were awful. And quite frankly, I felt like I deserved better. I had this itching feeling that I was an option. My girlfriends and I were out to dinner and one mentioned our local Are We Dating the Same Guy Facebook page. Obviously, I went home and had to search. I found 3 separate posts about him with 10 plus different comments. Oh, 30. He's dating 30 women, apparently, from different women on each post. Feeling really shitty about it and feeling so stupid, mostly because it took me a long time to open up to someone after a terrible relationship and I just so happened to pick a local menace. I mean, Johnny Sins, is that you? If this guy really was dating 30 plus women at once and keeping it together, he's not a menace, bro. He's a goddamn miracle worker. He needs to sell a course on time management and dating. 100% he'd be a millionaire. 30 plus women, this lady is absurd. This is an unbelievable story, honestly.
Like 10 different women. So in theory, this gives women a form of protection to help them avoid bad experiences with men they're going on dates with or men they've already been in relationships with. And while I can definitely see this app could be used for good, I can also see, wow, this app could also be used for harassment. But unfortunately, that's not even the app's biggest problem because recently the app was hacked. According to the media, passport information, driver's license, and full names of the women all across North America were leaked. But was it actually...
That's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is allowing an app like this to exist in the first place. And the 4 million who thought, you know what? Let's upload my personal information, do some character assassination. Yep, that sounds like a fun pastime. You really think that Jabba the Hutt is getting dates without 4 layers of filters? Really? These people are like probably catfishing the guys they're dating and the guys are like, what the fuck? Right? And that's the reason they're getting rejected, or that's the reason they're getting like bad experiences.
Was it actually hacked or was it just coded extremely poorly? Well, that's what we're going to be discussing today. So for some backstory for you, T was founded by Sean Cook in 2023 after he witnessed his mother's terrifying online dating experience.
So let me get this straight. This app was founded because Sean Cook's mom had a bad dating experience? Bro, this is like the ultimate soy boy origin story. I will create a safe space for all women instead of just sitting down with his mom and saying, hey, mom, maybe learn to, sort the assholes from the normal ones, right? He decides to build an app built on lies, built on hate. I mean, and by the way, what happens when the dating market becomes too toxic against men? Well, I'll tell you, the good ones are going to be too scared to play the game. It's the same reason why you hear women complaining about nobody's coming up to them anymore. Because you have things like this happening that disincentivizes them and actively punishes them for making any mistake they make. Right? And so you're essentially squeezing the market of good guys when you put out shit like this. So what you've essentially made for your mom is you've actually limited her options for some of the good guys.
Apparently, she was being catfished over and over again, was unknowingly talking to men with criminal record.
Like, at what point do we start holding people accountable for their own judgment? Like, if you're getting scammed multiple times, maybe the problem isn't just the scammers. Maybe it's the fact you can't spot a red flag unless it's on fire, like, bro. But no, instead of addressing that, we get Captain White Knight here building an app that lets strangers judge people they've met for 20 minutes over, like, what, coffee? This whole app is so flawed. You're taking dating advice and lessons on how to judge people from the rejects. And now that we know how these people look like, you're taking advice especially from these people? They probably get their advice from the goddamn fortune cookies and astrology.
So how did this app help with this problem? Well, this app allowed women to post the man's first name, age, location, and other women on the site could share their experiences and share whether the man was a potentially good or bad person, using the terms red flag or green flag.
Yeah, see, this is the part nobody thinks about, right? The only people who would actually be on this app are the ones with a negativity bias. Well, why? Because nobody's logging in to write a 5-star review about the guy they're still dating. If you got something positive to say, you're already with him. And if you are with him and you're still on this app, or you see him on this app, congrats, you're a fucking cuck. Plain and simple. This whole setup is basically an echo chamber for red flags. Green flags? I don't think there are even any green flags on this app. They're not juicy, they're not dramatic, and they don't, scratch that itch for what people came there for. Which means the app just evolves into a cesspool of rejects trying to cope about why they got rejected. I'm sure the developer had good intentions, and I'm sure there are many, many women who are using the app who also truly had bad experiences. But reality speaks for itself. I'm not one to deny human behavior. People will be jealous of other people. If a reject girl sees a hot guy who supposedly the girl who's posting is about to date, she's gonna pull that girl down. It's crab mentality. And I'm sure a lot of these women are bitter.
And early users of the app had to verify with a form of KYC, meaning they had to upload a photo of themselves and a ID, so government ID and a selfie of themselves to verify their age and gender. This is because the T app was a woman-only platform. The uploading your identification feature was later removed at the end of 2023 and changed to simply allow you to upload a photo of your face on the app. In their terms of service, they promised that these images would be instantly removed as soon as the verification process finished. Well, apparently, that didn't happen.
Oh, wow, shocker. A company didn't actually do what it said in the terms of service. Who could have seen that coming? And this is why companies, I keep saying, companies aren't your friend. Their loyalty isn't to you, it's to their own interest. And if that means quietly keeping your data just in case, they'll do it. And the best part, getting around this whole women-only verification it's so stupid easy. Borrow your sister's ID, Photoshop the selfie, done. People act like KYC is some impenetrable fortress. It's not, right? The reality is, once you upload something to a company server, it probably exists forever. Doesn't matter what they say they'll do with it. If it's valuable to them for training AI, for internal testing, for covering their asses, for blackmail, it's staying there. And if you trust them enough to delete it instantly because they pinky swore in the TOS, I would say you're stupid.
This may not seem important now, but trust me, it plays a massive role later on in the video, because every single user that signed up at the time just had their personal information leaked online.
And this is the part that blows my mind. You're giving random privately run gossip app your passport, your address, and every identifying factor they could possibly want. Not a bank, not a government agency with any oversight, just some random startup with a Squarespace landing page and what? They're nobodies. And here's the thing, once they have that, you basically handed them the keys to your life. In the most theoretical, if I were a evil maniac bad person way possible, I could take that info and open credit cards in your names, sell your passport scans to people overseas who need a fake identity, link your address to everything you've ever said online and nuke your career overnight. Have you shown up in places you've never been? Because technically the ID says you. Have you shown up in places you've never been? Because technically the ID says it's you. And this is all before we get into the black market side of things, right? Where that data gets bundled and sold to scammers, stalkers, and even just some dude with, too much free time. Or maybe the next Dexter or Hannibal. The horrifying part is people think, well, they said they deleted. Yeah, and I'd say I go to the gym every day in January. The reality is, once you give it up, you cannot get it back. It's theirs now. And they can do essentially whatever they want with it. Whatever they need for it, right? And you'll never know until it's too late.
The app suddenly went viral in 2025, reaching #1 in the App Store, with a total of over 4 million women across America using the app. And
how insane that number is, and what type of person uses the app, by the way, right? You gotta imagine 4 million people who are using this disgusting app.
this is a surge that was fueled mostly by TikTok and media coverage. And I mean, it's a solid concept, so there was no doubt that it was going to go viral. But here's where things start getting a little bit sketchy and the cracks start to show. Even before the so-called hack or leak online, the app was drawing a lot of controversy over privacy, defamation, and people's overall opinion of the app.
Yeah, my God, I can't. 4 million women on this app. 4 million. And that's after everything we've talked about. The gossip, the defamation, the ID leaks, that's insane. And yeah, not every single one of them is a bad actor. Like, let's be real. But let's play with some numbers here. Let's be generous and say only 25%. That's a lot. No, that's not a lot. Are degenerates. People using it for revenge, gossip, clout, or just straight up lying. That's still 1 million people who are weaponizing this platform. 1 million. That's an army of Karens with zero accountability. And by the way, yeah, accountability. There's zero accountability if someone were to just lie or just straight up say, this guy raped me. And honestly, I think 25% is giving these people way too much credit. Realistically, I put it like, 50%? Which would mean 2 million people. But what's their incentive to do that? You assume the worst in people? Well, attention. It's just that simple. These are attention-starved people. Dating is basically all about attention. Remember, these are the rejects. They need validation for why they were rejected. They need to feel like it's not their fault, even if even if one person there like says, "Oh, queen, he didn't deserve you, queen. You deserve better." And you bet your ass they're doing that. That's just hearing one of those is a win for them.
Online critics explained that the anonymous posting about men could lead to false accusations and even doxing. There's also been a bunch of TikToks that suggest that someone may have ended their lives because of this app, but we found no information to actually verify that this is true.
Absolutely. 4 million women dogpiling on you like that. That's an insane amount of pressure nobody should go through. Not even these degens, I think, should go through that.
We just have a bunch of different TikToks talking about knowing of men that did that because of this app. And honestly, if you have an app that's designed to anonymously trash talk people, it's not super far-fetched that that would happen. But I can see how this is two-sided, because you have one side that says, yeah, this is good. This potentially stops terrible men ruining women's lives. But then you also have to realize that there's this other side that points out that men are having their photos and information posted online without their consent.
True. It hurts both sides, but it hurts men more. You've got judge, jury, and executioner over here, and it's just straight up to execution. And really, that's just part of dating. You've got some crazies, you've got some good ones, then you have everybody else. Just be a better judge of character. I don't meet people in like sketchy places. Don't let them take you to dark alleyways. Make sure people know where you are, and this goes both ways. Guys can absolutely be extorted for money and threatened with SA just because, right? You can be in a packed train like sardines and just brush against someone and she yells, "Pervert, pervert, help, help." What are you gonna do? Who are people gonna believe? It sucks to suck, but if you're a guy, you're fucked. That's life. But it shouldn't be. If there's a way to reduce that, then shouldn't we commit to that? Well, just be safe and don't do anything stupid. No matter how hot you think they are, don't put yourself in dangerous situations. Don't be blinded. There's this saying when going to a foreign country, no area, no country is safe if you're stupid. Whether it's India, Japan, Middle Eastern countries, Southeast Asian countries, America, Canada, Europe, it doesn't matter, right? Even in Japan, the most perceived to be safe country in the world, where you can leave you can leave your phone on the street and nobody would steal it. If you leave it long enough, somebody will steal it. 100%.
And that can lead to harassment because there's no guarantee that the information being shared about this man is even true.
There's the classic argument of what if men had an app where they took non-consenting women, they talked about how ugly they were, they talked about how many people they slept with, don't ever consider this person as a partner, they've slept with 5 other people or something like that, right? And they called them psychos on this app, etc., they made up stories about it. Obviously, instantly would be banned, wiped off the face of the earth, most misogynistic app ever, etc., And obviously, it doesn't make it okay when women do it either.
It's an obvious double standard. That's just basically it.
But this isn't even half of it, because as I mentioned previously, the app reached #1 on the App Store. And well, only a few days later, they experienced a massive data breach in which 72,000 images, including driver's license and faces of the early users from 2023 to 2024, those images, they were scraped off the web and just dumped onto 4chan.
Jesus fucking Christ. People are such degenerates nowadays. I think it stems from people just wanting to be less confrontational, because I don't think women are really going on this app and thinking, "God damn, I need to shit on my ex, or I need to shit on that guy who rejected me the other day." Like, don't you have anything better to do? I think it's just the same type of mentality that they tend to acquire when they get on this app though. I think most people, at least the initial people who are coming on to the app, are genuinely looking for ways to up their chances at getting a guy. They don't want to go out there and get rejected at the 11th time because of appearances, because of certain traits that they don't have no control over, which they can filter out by using the app. But what happens when it just devolves into a fucking gossip fest? But you don't know what's true or what's false, and you essentially base who you're going to date according to the word of some random internet stranger who might have dated this guy or not, but because she couldn't have him, nobody can have him? That's just crazy.
And the media referred to this as a massive hack.
Hackers gained access to 72,000 photos, including users' selfies and photo IDs. T's parent company says more than 4 million women use the app.
But from the information we've seen online, it doesn't seem like this was the case. It doesn't even look like a hack happened. It looked like it was just built so poorly that any random person could access all of this private information. This app might have actually been vibe coded. So for the people who don't know what vibe coded is, it means the app was coded using AI and that there was no real professional development whatsoever. Now,
I mean, it sucks to suck, right? This is such a red pill for anybody who trusts companies to take care of their personal information. Google, Facebook, Instagram, these companies are not your friend. They're just there to make money, which is pretty obvious, right? Sure, they might have a good, heartwarming backstory like Sean Cuck over here, the owner of this wonderful little app, but in reality, they don't fucking care. They never did. How can you go on this whole spiel of women's safety when you don't even have the basic security measures installed? But maybe he just didn't know what he was doing, right? And maybe he was just out of the kindness of his heart. Well, many people do things out of the kindness of their heart. Is it kind to let a coyote into your house because you think it's hungry and that very same coyote eats your goddamn chihuahua? I would say that's being stupid. But sure, you can be stupid and kind at the same time, right?
now, do we have proof of that? No. But according to the internet, it seems poorly made. I am no computer programmer, so I have no idea, or I would not be able to identify if it's poorly made or not. But I'm just going off of what the internet is saying now. But it seems like they made no effort to ensure the safety of their users and made a simple drag and drop app. One of the original 4chan users who dumped the database had this to say: if you sent T-App your face and driver's license, they doxed you publicly. No authentication, no nothing. It's a public bucket.
Public bucket, that technique is it's like a please steal me. Like what's going on here? And absolutely, I believe this is happening. And so it is so easy, right? Because you have fully AI coded applications. You don't have to do anything. You have fully AI YouTube videos. It's AI everything. So yeah, I believe this is what happens when you make everything accessible. And I'm not saying that's wrong. That's a good thing. It gives an equal fighting chance to every single person out there to make a disproportionate amount of money, which I'm sure this guy made. But at the same time, you get AI slop videos, AI slop apps, AI slop ideas, half-baked apps, floating in the market as well. And I'm not saying every single person has to go into their terms of service and vet them, go into the app creators and vet them as well, or something. But you know, maybe raise your eyebrow when they're asking you for very, very personal information that could be used for identity theft, that could be used against you in real life. Some credit card companies and some banks don't even require any detailed information. They just need an ID to take out a loan, to take out a credit card in your name, to open a bank account. I mean, think about it. If you wanted to solve X and Reddit and Facebook being one of the most toxic places on the internet, the only real solution is introducing real ID and essentially eliminating all anonymity from the platform. That way, you got some real accountability for the shit you say online. And if you do that, I'm pretty sure you solve 90%, maybe 85%, right, of all shitposting and all racism, of all the lies, because then you know your posts are tied to your job, to your reputation. When you want to hire someone who's shitposting online for shit, why would you want to hire someone who's shitposting online for shits and giggles? Your personal identification and your personal identity on the internet is a very important thing that you should not be giving away to some random app or some random companies. At the very least, you owe yourself that, right?
And if that went over your head, a public bucket, put simply, just means public online storage, meaning all your information was literally just sitting there for anyone to find. So calling this a hack is kind of laughable because it was already just sitting there. Anyone could grab it.
This is not...
Yeah, it's an absolute joke. There's no sugarcoating. It's an absolute joke.
a hack, and for a lot of people that were looking into this, they had found that, yes, by putting in that URL, you absolutely could find attachment files.
The only thing the 4chan user did was make a script that downloads all the images and data from the public cloud storage. So obviously, this is a massive issue when it comes to security and privacy.
Yeah, obviously, this is what's going to happen if you give the average person tools that are way above their skill level, right? It's like giving the keys to your Lamborghini to someone who's only driven a golf cart, and not even a nice golf cart. It's one of those rattly rental ones with a duct tape seat. I mean, there's nothing wrong with them, right? You've got a bunch of people running the app that handles sensitive personal data, and they don't even know how to lock down a public cloud folder. That's like day one stuff. And when you mix that with a level of incompetence with a user base willing to upload their government ID into the system, it's basically an all-you-can-eat buffet. And based on the leaks, there were a lot of frequent diners.
So with that, it's fairly obvious that the media went absolute crazy, with even some news coverage defending the app developers, saying this couldn't be helped. And with privacy laws being a lot less strict here in the US, it seems like this narrative has been pushed that like it was a hack and it wasn't a lack of developer oversight.
This whole app is a GDPR nightmare, which is one of the reasons why I think it's only in the United States as of now. If this was an issue in like Europe or Canada, where privacy laws, at least in Europe, are a lot more strict, this would absolutely put the developers of this application in the crosshairs.
Oh, absolutely. This guy needs some, the developer of this app needs some level of accountability. This guy needs to honestly go to jail. Think about all the public defamation. Think about all the character assassinations. Think about all the possible firings these men have possibly experienced. And for the ladies, all the identity theft, right? That they now have to deal with because, you know, the internet is not going to fucking lie down and let this go unpunished. There are people out there with vendettas who love to see people squirm and who love to see justice, no matter what kind of twisted justice that is. How easy would it be to sign you up for a cash on delivery service, for example, if they know your name, your address, your age, your birthday? It's so easy. It's just so easy.
But putting the media and narrative aside, the internet wasn't happy. An app designed to promote safety for women literally made women unsafe. And what's even more crazy is the information leak could be used to commit various types of identity fraud.
Exactly.
People could realistically use this information to sign up to crypto sites, gambling sites, all sorts of stuff to KYC. Like, this is a nightmare because like a very real worry you have to have. If your information was leaked in this, you actually have to worry about people registering and signing up for crypto exchanges and withdrawing money through your name.
No, I didn't even think about it. It's exactly what could happen. I mean, my example was nothing compared to this, right? And I would say the people who thought getting on this app was okay in the first place, they deserve it. But I'm not that fucking ruthless, I think. You know, you learn your lesson. Well, hopefully you learn your lesson. You learn your lesson, but I don't think anybody deserves to have their lives ruined over this. Let's be real, not a majority of people because probably use this app in good faith, right? But that doesn't excuse the minority of people, which is still a lot, who use this app to ruin a lot of people's lives and chances at getting hitched. And it's not going to be, I'm not going to sit here and say you deserve this or you deserve that, who am I? But at least let this be a lesson, do not act like a little shit online. Especially when the company has your identity, even when you think you can be anonymous on the website. Let's say, for example, X starts requiring you to upload your identification, but you can still be anonymous. What's stopping them from reporting you to authorities if you say some really problematic shit? And you can imagine what people say online, right?
And of course, to make things even worse, 4chan even went as far to use driver's licenses that have been leaked to create a searchable map, which is just absolutely insane.
This is exactly what I was saying. You never underestimate the power of boredom, basically. I remember there was so many cases that 4chan solved. I remember the time they were able to identify that guy who was standing on the lettuce in Burger King. They were able to identify his location and got him fired, I think. I think that was the story, yeah. I think that was crazy. And remember the time they identified a fucking terrorist base when the US government was like fiddling their thumbs saying, where the fuck is the thing? It's crazy how good people are on the internet with finding things, especially 4chan.
The company literally promised multiple times this data would be deleted instantly and none of this information would be transferred to their servers. So they're looking at a legal nightmare. And that's exactly what they're facing. But you may be asking, okay, what did the company have to say about the situation? Well, they said at 6:44 PST on the 25th of July, we identify unauthorized access to our systems and immediately launched a full investigation with assistance from external cybersecurity experts to understand the scope of the impact of the incident. Here's what we know at this time. A legacy data storage was compromised, resulting in the unauthorized access to a data set from prior to February 2024. This dataset includes approximately 72,000 images, including approximately 13,000 selfies and photo identifications submitted by users during the account verification, and approximately 59,000 images publicly viewable in the app from posts, comments, and images. They also said that no email addresses or phone numbers were accessed. Only users who signed up before February 2024 were affected.
Oh, great. That's a relief. At least now I don't have to worry about getting signed up to like spam mail, right? What the fuck are we talking about? This company is a joke. Oh, you know, we just let your passport, your driver's license, your health cards get leaked, but at least we got your phone number and email safe, right? Look at the bright side. It's like some fucking veteran comes home from war losing all his limbs and then the doctor says, well, At least you got your eyes. Well, was it fucking worth it? I would say no.
Which isn't really helping their public image. Oh, we only leaked about 25,000 of you guys. But I would love to say that this response put all the users' minds at ease, but unfortunately not. Because literally just 3 days later, there was a second database breach after a security researcher discovered a vulnerability allowing access to over 1 million direct messages. Meaning this whole, oh, this was just an old database we forgot to delete, that narrative is completely gone now. But the most recent update to all this is the T-App doesn't have 1, but 6 pending class action lawsuits filed against them, meaning they could be facing massive financial liabilities with this and their current public image.
No shit. I think you should absolutely have to go to jail for this, by the way. Absolutely go to jail.
So things are not looking good for the T-App. So where does this leave us? Well, the T-App is still partially online. I can imagine its user base is still growing due to the media attention.
Really? I don't think so. Why would anyone want to willingly get on that app right after they just leaked everybody's identity? No person wants to be associated with this app right now. Nobody wants to take the risk. And anyone who's been on this app is literally a walking red flag, by the way. That's not to say they aren't good people or they didn't engage in good faith, but it has a lot to do with their decision making. I wouldn't want to date someone with the decision making of a grade schooler, right? I don't think anybody would. I don't think that's a green flag for me. I don't want to be with someone who's going to blast me in front of 4 million women and judge me based on and believe the judgment of other random people based on what? That's not even something I want even as a remote possibility.
And realistically, if they can fix their core issues and overcome these legal problems, I'm sure the app will continue to thrive.
Absolutely not. I mean, well, honestly, people are quite stupid. So it's very much possible. So I think, no, I do take that back. People really are that stupid that they might actually forget or not even hear about the T-App situation, right? There's also that possibility that they just continue to use the app that has no integrity. Because take a look at Robinhood, for example. After GameStop, it's still alive today. And they only got charged with what? I think it was like 30 million in fines. Don't quote me on that. I think it's like 30 million or something like that. They ruined hundreds of thousands of people's lives, bankrupt a lot of them, and it just goes back to the old saying, right? When the only punishment for a crime is a fine, then it's only a crime for the poor. That's why I really want this guy to go to jail.
But to me, it seems like this app might be causing more trouble than it's even worth for the owner. Because not only do you have the data breach happenings to worry about, but you also have to worry about, running an anonymous app that's kind of designed to trash talk people. So that can be a slippery slope as well. Overall, this one is just kind of a tough one to unpack because the app's purpose in general is pretty subjective. But hey, what do you guys think about this entire situation? Let me know in the comments down below. Since we've just been talking about online dating, you might also enjoy this other one we talked about where it was some online dating action between a guy and an AI Jennifer Aniston, which ended up scamming him, naturally. But it's still a wild story you can check out here. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe, drop a like on this video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.
And again, it goes back to intention, right? The app's purpose is supposedly well-intentioned. Nobody's going to care about this entire situation if the app were doing what it was intended to do. But with this style of like unverified stories, unverifiable stories, it's so easy to Photoshop messages right now. It's so easy to lie and make up stories. It's so easy to dogpile on someone when they're already being dogpiled on, right? You want to get into the fun, right? It's so easy to do that. But reality is people suck, especially the type of people who would take advantage of this type of app. I really don't think women need this type of app to be safe. Just make safe decisions and you'll be fine. Of course, it's going to be like there are going to be extreme cases, but in general, just don't be stupid. No matter how much of a Prince Charming this guy is, no matter how much of a stud, how much money this guy has, don't let yourself be blinded by that. Be safe. Bye.